to meet the healthcare needs of the people we serve.
Thank you very much. Welcome. We're going to go into approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on April 27th. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as they were presented?
I move the minutes be approved as submitted.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Graig,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Rosemary,
Yes.
and Rex.
Yes.
Thank you. Public comment. Members of the public are welcome to participate in the meetings of the board. We'd like to have a calm presentation so that the import of what you are presenting is not overshadowed by the manner of the presentation. When the board president recognizes a member of the public for all comments, such comment shall be for 3 minutes or less, and we'll hold strictly to that this time at the discretion of the board president. Comments from the public will be accepted during public comment. No action or comments will be taken by the board on matters not on the agenda. Okay, anyone interested in public comment?
Yeah, right. Do I need to use this?
No.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Ann Miller, and I'm a retired local banker. I'm here today regarding an article that I read in the Monterey County Weekly recently regarding a no confidence in Ida Lopez Chan. Shame on the writer of this article. Obviously, someone did not do their due diligence in looking to see her qualifications and her ability to run this fine organization. Ida is a college graduate. She holds her master's degree in finance, and she's working on her doctorate in finance. She is the right person for this organization. She is a local resident who really cares about her employees and her community. She is always going above and beyond to do what it takes to make Soledad Community Healthcare District a vital organization. Finding different ways to get more funding and to expand the revenue. I have had 2 relatives here in Eden Valley. My grandmother, Edna Smith Anderson, and more recently my father-in-law, Howard Miller, during the COVID outbreak. Both passed here. This was a trying time in our lives. We were able to be with my father-in-law during his last days, and we thank the organization for that. Eden Valley Care Center was built to house our relatives in this valley so we as family members could be closer to them, and this has happened. More recently, a friend of mine just spent 3 weeks here, and he said it saved his life. He was at a facility away from home, and his health did not improve until he was transferred here to be close to his friends and relatives and to get the care that he deserved and which he received. I have all the confidence in the world in Ida, and I think you should too. Please do your homework. You do not want to lose this fine individual. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I just have a couple quick comments. One, I see our letters are not being attached to the board minutes any longer because they weren't attached. And the last time I submitted a letter, so I don't have a letter to submit this time. And I've also noticed that that the meeting minutes don't reflect what we say here. So just for you to know, I'm not going to send a letter. I'm not going to expect anything out of the meeting minutes. But I do want to point out that I was here at the last meeting when Rosemary Guidotti recused herself as a board member and came up to speak. If you look at the board meeting minutes, she spoke on behalf of the board. She had confidential information as a board member, and she spoke during the public section on private information as a board member, unless she herself reported to the State Department of Health, and unless she knew the findings, which she said were fine, which I doubt she reported. So you need to know she stepped out of her role as a board member, and my guess is you need to take some action on that because it was highly inappropriate. and she scolded the audience for reporting to the state, which we shouldn't be scolded, because if you know patients' rights, they have a right to an ombudsman, and the ombudsman office encourages people to report to the State Department of Health, and that's a right by all family residents. So Rosemary was clearly out line. I read the article. I don't know if we're reflecting on the same article or not. I don't see anything about Ida in that article. I see a blame on the prior CEO, which I don't understand. CEOs should not be blamed for anything because there is a board. So if there's any action to be taken, it should be on the part of board members and not a CEO, because I don't think CEOs can do things without board taking action. As you know, you're all fiscally and legally responsible for what happens in this district. And if there was a decision to move forward with the construction of a women's center when there was already a debt in process, then obviously you folks made the decision to do that, not just a CEO. And if you did, you let a CEO make a decision at your ignorance, which is not okay. And what I don't clearly understand is, I want to know, was there a feasibility study that was done as a business model to go ahead with the construction of a women's center when you're already in debt? Because that feasibility study should have included the cost of instruction, the amount of the loan, the payment, the staffing, all the issues that go into a good business plan. And so if there is a business plan, I think the public is entitled to it, given the debt that you are now facing. And I hope that this board has the strength and the leadership to move this district forward. And if you don't, then you need to step off this board, because it requires leadership to move it forward. But the actions of this board has continued to show you don't care and you don't understand. If you don't understand, you can't take this place out of debt. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public comment. Communication coordinator. Thank you.
Hello, District Board and members of the public that are joining us today. I do have a few items in my communications report. So in the beginning of the month, I assisted with Spirit Week that we have for employees. On May 1st, we celebrated May Day, where staff was able to say thank you to one of their coworkers or full departments, and the person being thanked received a flower. May 2nd was Harry Potter Day, so staff dressed according to the theme and played a crossword puzzle. May 3rd was Decades Day. Staff got to pick a decade and dressed in 70s, 80s, or 90s themed clothing, then participated in a scavenger hunt. May 4th was Star Wars Day, so staff dressed according to the theme and played Two Truths, One Lie. May 5th was Cinco de Mayo, and we had 2 potlucks going on, both at EBCC and at the clinic. Prizes were given to those that won any of the games that we hosted, and staff had a lot of fun with this. It makes the workplace environment just so much more fun. Doesn't really feel like you're working, you're more so just like here dressing according to different themes and having fun with the different games that we provide. I'm currently working on getting our monthly newsletter out on June 1st to 130 of our contacts in S'more. This newsletter will feature a lot of content for pictures that were captured on the special themed days that we have during Spirit Week, as well as themed days that happen throughout Nurses Appreciation Week, just here specifically at Eden Valley. For our staff highlight feature, we will be recognizing one of our CNAs, Laura Salamanca, for Eden Valley, and our registered nurse, Terry Fisher, will be recognized for our clinics. I am already starting to plan for our upcoming 75th Gala celebration. That will be taking place on Saturday, September 9th at 5:30 p.m. if you would like to start saving the date. I am doing this with the help of the Gala Planning Committee, and we have already met twice this month, so we're looking forward to tackling on this big celebratory event. I worked with one of our CNAs, William Canlas, and got a good picture and biography of him so he can be the next to be highlighted in our local paper. after Dr. Hujiron, who was featured a few weeks ago. And while I was interviewing William, he provided me with a quote to add into the advertisements along with his picture. And he stated that his favorite part about working for Eden Valley Care Center is how beautiful the environment is, how friendly the staff, the people are, and working with the greatest people. I also worked on the Memorial Day program that you all can find there. This will take place on Monday, and the district sponsors this event with the program every year. I updated the name of those who have passed since last year, and also the first page of those participating in this year's Memorial Day event. For social media outreach, posts that were made on our social media accounts in the past month include our staff celebrating Superhero Day, Hartnell students studying cardiac arrestments here at Eden Valley, the ladies at the Women's Health Center celebrating Cinco de Mayo, Bridge Home Health and Hospice was visiting Eden Valley during National Nurses Week, and we showed that they had brought bagels, donuts, fruit, yogurts, and other goodies for our staff. We also recognized the recipient for the Secret Memorial Scholarship, the gala committee members having their first kickoff meeting, and I did a resident interview with a lady that stays here at Eden Valley named Lisa. She mentioned that one of her favorite things to do here is spend time in the garden, and she likes how welcoming everyone is. Her favorite nurse here is Marlene. We also showed Mayor Velasquez bringing pastries to our hardworking staff during Nursing Home Week. And lastly, an updated flyer of our NST program was shown, sharing general information about the program and the kind of work that our RN, Terry Fisher, does in this program. And then I also work with our marketing consultant, Esmeralda Montenegro, and our media productions group, Mag1, to create employee videos that you will get to see. If you wanted to show them right now, or later in the meeting.
You can show them.
My name is Justin Ortiz. I'm the administrative assistant at Eden Valley Care Center in Soledad, California. It's been an incredible experience. The support's established. The team very involved. They network, they collaborate, they listen, they're attentive, and they also showcase with the actual level of residents that come into this ecosystem. So my goal and my passion is to help the vulnerable and disadvantaged demographic. So my goal is to also impact the community by offering excellent local service. So working in a small community, you're able to network and get to know the community really, really well. Getting to know the families, the friends, networking, and also providing that excellent level of optimal well-being and healthcare services.
Come and see our beautiful facility at Eden Valley. We have just expanded our facility to accommodate 59 beds. And why that's important is because our community is seeking us. And we could not have done it without the support of our wonderful staff. It's because of their loyalty, their commitment, that we are still here today. I'm very proud to say that our clinic continues doing the good work that it always does. It is here doing sports physicals. It's here doing physicals in general to keep people healthy. You know, we're an organization that takes care of the patient from head to toe, or what I like to say, from birth to senior life. And our clinic is open 5 days a week, 8 to 6 p.m. To meet the needs of our community. And we've done so with the great staff that we have, the doctors, the nurse practitioners, the PAs that we have on staff. In addition to that, we have the Women's Center. That Women's Center opened a couple of years ago, and it has just become vibrant. We formed this partnership with the Trinidad OBGYN group. There have been many babies delivered as a result of that, many women taken care of. We have ultrasound, we have mammography, we have top radiology. We have all the services that you need in a one-stop shop. So if you don't know already, we are celebrating our 75-year birthday. That tells you how important we've been to our community and how sustainable we've been to our community. It was an idea that was brought about 75 years ago by Dr. Hanley. Dr. Hanley and his nurse came here with an idea to bring healthcare services, critical healthcare services to the most neediest in our community. We started earlier this year with a celebration of our history at the Historical Society. And we will end the end of the year with a gala, inviting our community, our staff, and those who make a difference, board members who make a difference, not only on the board, but also in the foundation. So I welcome all of our community to come. Come see us for your healthcare needs. Come take a tour of our beautiful garden. You know, during COVID, we had a wedding in our beautiful garden here. It's a place of tranquility. It's a place that people can enjoy an event. Come join us. Come check it out. Come see what we've been up to. So we couldn't show them all. There's about 7 that will start rotating through social media and other events, but they're all really great. So you guys enjoy.
Who did that? Did you do that?
No, that was our productions company, Mag One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
And that concludes my communications coordinator.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay,
All right.
9, outside the district audit presentations by JWT and Associates.
Yeah, he's gonna zoom in.
Oh.
So if you might need to figure out how to turn it up. I don't know if it's the Bose system, because it's really low.
The Bose isn't working.
Oh, okay, so it's this here. You might need to send him a message. Oh, hi Nate.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we certainly can. This is Ida and the board here with you.
Nice to meet all of you.
There he is. Okay, you're on, Nate.
Okay. A lot of you know Rick Jackson. He still oversaw this audit. I'm Nate Doty. He brought me on with the firm a couple years ago. And before that, I worked as a CFO of a manufacturing company. And then before that, I was with Deloitte and Touche for a few years. And so that's just a little bit about me. This is the first year I've done this audit. Rick has done it in the past. He asked me to take it on, and he was still heavily involved. He reviewed my work and the financials and things along the way. Your financial accounting systems and documents are very detailed and very clean. You're easily one of my top 5 cleanest clients as far as audit documentation goes. Working with Brent Green has been wonderful. He's very detailed and got me all the documentation that I needed. As in previous years, it was an unmodified opinion, which just means that the audit was clean, there was no issues. We only had one audit adjustment that Brent actually gave to us, and that was just related to the PPS reconciliation and settlement from prior year. Other than that, everything tied out to the penny, and it was another good audit. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
Is there a way to get the annual audit in less than 11 months? Since we're having financial difficulties and we can't look back without completing that?
We can get preliminary earlier, but the big holdup with Soledad, and we have other clients that are in a similar situation. I was finished with 99% of the financial audit about 5 months ago. But we had to wait for the PPS reconciliation to be filed and to receive that adjustment. And it's a long, drawn-out bureaucratic process with the state of California in order to get those reports filed, in order to know what that adjustment needs to be. And so we could easily get preliminary financials sooner. And if we can get those reports filed sooner, we would definitely issue the audit sooner. The only thing holding up this audit was that PPS reconciliation. But there's quite a few things that go into it. We need to get a report from the state, a claims report, and that usually takes 4 to 5 months after year end to get that report. And with that report, we then need to prepare the PPS reconciliation report. This year, it took a little longer because our cost report and PPS report team was trying to help you out. When they first took a first look at the PPS reconciliation report, there was going to be a pretty large liability due to the state of California. And so one of our coworkers decided to dig into the details a little bit more to see if he could reduce that liability by reviewing costs and visits from the managed care system. And that took a couple months to review that detailed information in order to get a little bit better result from the PPS reconciliation report that was filed. I know that's a long drawn out answer to a short question, but in this case, no, we couldn't get it any sooner.
Thank you.
We're waiting for that PPS report to get filed so that we can make that last adjustment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion to accept the audit.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Ann has made a motion to accept the audit report.
I'll second.
Okay, Maggie seconds. Call question?
Graig,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Rosemary,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
and Matt.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. You have a good weekend.
You're welcome. Thank you. You too.
Treasurer's report. Brent, you're on.
Okay, so let's see if I can find it in the board packet here. I think we're on page, it's after the audit report in there,
35.
page 35. Okay, we had another good month in the month of April. Max, I would say that as Nate indicated on there, the numbers that I presented as of June 30th, which was, I finished my portion of preparing the audit, was done in September, October. Those numbers didn't change. The only thing that changed was that PPS. So we had basically the audit except for that PPS reconciliation from about November on.
And that saved us how much in that, if it was hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah,
making sure that was
initially,
accurate.
I believe it was like 1.5 million and they got it down to 1.2 million.
Yeah.
So
it
that
was
extra
worth it.
time saved us a couple of $100,000. So, so what we have here is 10 months worth of activity. The month of April, we showed a profit of approximately 280,000, and I'll show you where that falls. But if you're looking at the balance sheet here, the encouraging thing, it can be encouraging, it can also be a little upsetting, is our receivable balance. You'll notice it's $2,245,000 as compared to $1,421,000. One of the issues there was a delay in getting some of the billing finished, but Ida just told me today that we received today 300 and some odd thousand of that receivable balance, so.
Where'd that come from?
Go ahead.
So it's our Eden Valley billing on that side, and it was just the timing of the Medi-Cal and billing, and so that was a little bit delayed. And so I met, I had a meeting with business office manager and Bill of Grace to go over those details this Monday, and she was able to turn that around and get us those items built. And so we already started receiving to the tune of 377,000 is what we'll get. So May will be a very significant and good month.
Okay. Our bottom line, the other thing is that as of March 31st, I had not posted the PPS audit adjustment. It is now posted, so it reflects the audit, the final audit adjustment. So when you look down here at summary of net assets, which is down towards the bottom, you'll see beginning of the year, 2,554,000, okay? Last period for the month of March, it was about 3.7 million. So it reflects that audit adjustment of 1.2 million, okay? If we go to page 2, you'll look, I immediately jump down to increase, decrease in net assets, about 2/3 of the way down in the first column. For the 10-month period, we're looking at a deficit of 192,600, a little farther down, Rosemary. Right here. So that's where we are for the 10 months. And if you look at comparison to the prior year, we were at $647,000 loss for the 10-month period. So we are $454,000 better than we were last year at this point.
That's a huge improvement.
Good.
Huge improvement. And last year at this point, we were starting to incur $200,000 to $300,000 losses every month. This is when it was really starting to drop off our revenues. But now we are turning the corner. So, and we'll see that here in a little bit.
Shift is turning, that's right.
And
Okay?
this is for everybody. This is the whole
Company.
campus.
This is
Yes.
the whole campus.
Yeah.
Now, if you look down towards the bottom of the page, you'll see a summary of income by operation. This is where we really see where the turnaround for having all the beds filled in Eden Valley is really making a difference. Look at Eden Valley Care Center. We have a profit of $564,000 compared to a loss last year of $300,000. You fill the beds and your financial statements look a lot better. Okay?
And even the drop in the Women's and Clinic Center.
The Clinic Women's Health Center is $400,000 better than last year. Okay? But part of that is because we moved some of the expenditures to the district, and that's why you see the district is $812,000. Okay? So some of these improvements are that we've moved those expenditures, but in total, we're still $454,000 better off than last year. And if May, and all indications are that May will be another good month, and if we have another $280,000 profit month, we'll finally, be out of the red
Wonderful.
for
How
the
does
fiscal
May
year.
look so far?
It looks really good, and just know that what I'm doing is any excess money, I'm sending it into the savings account to start accumulating the PPS dollars. So we in essence have to generate at least $83,000 a month in order to save enough to pay for the $1.2 million PPS rate. So I've been doing $25,000, I'm getting to $50,000, and hopefully I'll get to $80,000.
I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, but it was on the news the other day that the state legislative passed that bill AB 1112 for hospital districts and small clinics that are not, quote, not for profit. And it's state money that they will give to help avoid, a downfall like what's happening over in Hollister. And way I understand it is it's money that's available at a zero interest loan. And it might be something to look at if we need to go down that route.
So-
And I think Anna Caballero, she kind of co-signed that bill.
Short answer is we don't qualify.
Really?
Oh,
Long answer is I got a meeting request with Senator Ana Caballero to have that discussion with her. Especially because on the PPS rate, they're charging us 7%.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the meeting request to go through. It sounds like, given her schedule, she won't be able to see me until June or July.
Oh, wow.
So let's keep our fingers crossed that they may make some modifications or exceptions, because they're still finalizing the requirements of it. So I've already sent that email off today to her office to hopefully get some of those
Why would
revenues.
we qualify if we're not for profit?
Because it made it strictly for hospitals.
Yeah, but
But-
it said in the article, it said that they did it for clinics.
Well, because we are technically a hospital district, then we would be, that's what I'm making the argument of, that we would qualify.
Yeah,
So-
that's why I would think we would qualify, because we're considered a hospital district,
Yeah.
and we're not for profit.
Yep.
We have the clinic,
Yeah,
that I would think under the umbrella of a hospital district that we might qualify. The only reason I'm interested in it is because it's state money at zero interest.
yeah. So I'll keep you guys posted, and I will let you guys know.
Could we get that on the agenda for next month? Just keep us an update on AB 112?
or we could do it through the report as well.
Okay,
Through the
yeah,
treasurer's
because
report.
otherwise we'll forget, but I think it's something to really,
I just think it,
because I think the whole thing was, because of Paul's.
on the closure, well, Madera went out, the clinic and the hospital's out. I have family that works in the hospitals in Fresno, they're majorly impacted
Yeah.
because of the loss of.
And they have
Madera.
$150 million earmarked for districts
For
like
that
this.
project.
Well, I hope we qualify.
Me too, me too.
Okay.
But I think adding it to the treasurer's, just part of the treasurer's report, I think that's a good idea, so it's a regular.
I'll make it a follow-up.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Okay.
you.
So, towards the top of the page, you'll see your receivables. Once again, there's the Eden Valley, 1 million. This is on page 37. I'm sorry. I don't know if you turned the page yet.
Okay, where are you now?
At the top of the page, the second section down where it says accounts receivable, you'll
Yes.
see,
Oh.
you'll notice that the receivable balance for Eden Valley, that's because, we've generated all this revenues, but we haven't really started to receive the money yet. But hopefully that, as indicated earlier, 377,000 is coming, and the rest of that should be coming shortly. Okay?
I thought 377 was last year.
No, 377,000 is part of that 1,466,000.
Oh, he's seen it on the report,
It
Brent.
says 30 April 22.
Yeah,
and
that
30 April 22.
377 is last year's, but it just happens to be the same amount that we're receiving this year.
Got it.
But the 377 that we're receiving now is part of the 1,466,000. It's just a coincidence that
That
number
the
is
amounts are
is
the same, yeah.
Okay. Once again, down at the bottom of the page, you'll see your gross revenues by type. I always look over to the far right-hand column to compare the Medicare to the Medi-Cal, and we are creeping up, which is good. So our Medicare revenues are increasing, which is where the profit centers are for the Eden Valley. Okay. On page 38, we have Eden Valley reported by department at the top of the page, and then we have it reported by salary type expenditure on the bottom of the page, so you can compare where the differences are. Once again, we are at a $564,000 profit for Eden Valley for the 10-month period.
Compared to last year at a $300,000 loss.
Right.
And there's really been a cut in expenses on a part of Eden Valley. It's really made a huge difference.
Yes.
That's a good job. Pass that
Yeah.
on.
Some of those expenses you can look at were like a one-time thing. In the prior year, we had a huge expense for the generator. That was included in here. But generally speaking, a lot of it is just management's attitude towards reducing expenditures. So hats off to management. Okay?
How does having the number of travelers we have over at Eden Valley affect all that?
That would be located in professional fees. So if you look down at the bottom of the page, you see professional fees, 511,000 versus 373. That's where the increase is for the travelers.
And the reality is, Max, is that it's unfortunate, but right now we're going through a major shortage. And I'll have a little bit more information about that. So I went to the Monterey County Economic Development Committee meeting, and they talk about how this industry is being very impacted. I just went to the nursing graduation at Hartnell, but even those nurses that graduate is still not enough. So the reality is that in a rural health clinic and community that we are, it's really tough to find the nursing. We have too much competition. We have the prison who pays boo-boos a bucks, and so forth and so forth. You have Silicon Valley not too far away. So yes, and my goal's always been not to have agency. I don't like it. It's expensive.
Inconsistent.
But ultimately, inconsistent, agreed. But when you have a need, you have to have an agency. For us to say that we'll never have agency, that's not a reality of our business. But we do try to balance that out. And in some cases right now, it's a little tough. It's a little hard. And the staff knows it. The administrator knows it. We all know it. But it's a little tough right now just because there's such a shortage in healthcare.
And we've had such a turnover, so that creates that need to hire.
Not really. I mean, it's the same amount of group. So that's not the case. Our turnover, I reported it to you last month, it was 2.38%. So there's not that turnover, What it is that we just need more. We just need more because there is that shortage. So we'll continue to deal with that. It's not something that's going to resolve itself anytime soon. There eventually will be a correction in the market. The correction is still not there, but it'll eventually come.
You know, in years past, they had like a program where they kind of mentored the nurses, you know, where they did, you know, the student nurses would come and they worked on site, and then they kind of got a liking for the place. And then after they finished their education, then they kind of, some of them wanted to come back.
So we do that with Hartnell College.
Oh, you do? Uh-huh.
We do, and the student nursing group comes in. So that takes a little time. So they just graduated, for example, then they have to take their test, which is probably another 2 months.
Uh-huh.
And then once they're in, then it takes time to get them seasoned and trained. But again, there's so much competition. I'll give you guys a prime example. So right now, typical out of school would cost you about $34 an hour. Now an out of school LVN is costing you about $44. So you also need to accommodate for that, and that's we're going to have to make a market adjustment, and we'll talk more during our budget time. But we're going to have to make a market adjustment. So it's very competitive out there right now.
And competitors like McDonald's paying $17 an hour now.
Yeah.
Makes it competitive for medical assistants to not go to McDonald's.
And the wages
It's frustrating.
It is frustrating, you're right, and the wages are about to go up. We have that written into our budget, but there's a line item proposal to increase our wages to 18%, which is great. They should go up. That's not what we're saying, is that then how do you accommodate that through the business?
How do you pay for it?
How do you pay for it all? So you have to reduce the expenses, right, in other areas in order to accommodate those higher wages, so.
Well, the other thing is, because we have more beds and more people in them, we're gonna have to have more staff. That's why we're having to do the so it's kind of a catch-22 for you.
It is.
Because we need to increase our beds, and we need, but that's also gonna increase our personal costs and our need for travelers.
So do the staff increase when the bed's filled up?
There is a ratio, and it's tracked by the state of California, and they manage both hours of CNAs and nurses. So absolutely, we have to abide. If we're not in compliance, we're in compliance, but if we're not ever in compliance, then we're held accountable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We turn to page 39, you can see the Soledad Medical Clinic and the Women's Health Center. An improvement, from last year, but still we're in the negative. If you look at our revenues are $625,000 higher, not because our gross revenues are higher, but because our contractual adjustment is lower. And then, Max, you'll also see here the travelers for the doctors. You'll see a big decrease in doctors' expense of $402,000, where we didn't have a couple of doctors and we had to use traveling doctors to do that, and those fees are in professional fees.
Oh.
So you see the increase in professional fees and a decrease in doctors.
Oh, so the professional fees includes the travel doctors?
Yes. Okay, the doctors are only those that are under contract, the actual doctors that we have under contract.
Well, yeah.
Okay?
But the good thing is that it's not losing as much money as it did last year.
Yeah.
The clinic.
So now down at the bottom, you'll see that for the month, you'll see the Eden Valley made $261,000.
Oh, wow.
The clinic actually, for the first time in several months, had a positive, $19,687. And then the district, typically we're showing about $100,000 or so in loss there because it's almost all expenditures. But in April, you received your second property tax installment. So the property tax installment helped us show a profit on the district side as well. Okay, so there's the $280,000 profit for the month.
One question.
Uh-huh.
So over on the next column, it says July through March.
Yes, that's the first 9 months.
Okay, and so do you add the 280?
The 280 plus the 472 should equal the negative 192.
Okay. So that's where we are for the clinic at 192 at 10 months, negative.
The clinic would be 138,345.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, and then the district, okay, got it, yeah.
Yeah. But once again, they have to cover a portion of the district expenses, and so.
Okay.
And then we have our cash flows, and that just tells you, where the cash has gone, where we've received cash. And then on page 41, we start our budget to actual. This isn't the budget for the fiscal year ending 24. This is the budget that you adopted in our last meeting. It shows how we're doing in comparison to that budget. So you'll look at, for the 10 months, the budget shows that we should have a profit of $541,670. That's in that second column all the way down at the bottom on page 41. And then for the 10 months actual, we are at a profit of $564,209. So we're actually $22,000 ahead in comparison to our budget. Okay? And if we have, if everything goes as planned, we budgeted, for Eden Valley, we budgeted a surplus of $650,000. Okay? So, but if we continue to have the beds filled that we do, we're gonna be over that 650. We'll probably be closer to 800,000 by the end of the year.
To the good.
To the good. Okay?
Which is PPS money.
Yeah. That all the revenues generated from Eden Valley at this point are gonna have to go to pay the PPS settlement for the clinic. Okay? And then on page 42, you have the clinic. So according to the budget at this point, we should be $2,200, $2,300 net profit, and we are at a loss of $221,000. So that increase that we're seeing at Eden Valley is being eaten up by the decrease in.
So now we're back to the good old days, when one makes money,
for those
the
of us
other
who've been
one
around
loses.
long enough, yes.
Where are you seeing that number? Where are you reading those
So on
numbers?
page 42,
On 42?
the second column, you'll see if we were in line with our budget, we would be showing a profit of $2,290.
At the very bottom.
The second column,
Got it,
down at the very bottom.
yes.
The 10-month actual year-to-date for the 10 months is a loss of $221.
Got it.
So a variance of $224,000. That's how far we're off.
And
from our
when you
budget.
look at the figures, and you get up under professional fees,
Uh-huh,
and the variance there is a negative 211,
uh-huh.
and we're losing 221.
Yep.
It's
It's those
professional fees.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
So we haven't had them in a long time.
Huh? Yeah.
We haven't had travelers
But
in
you
a long
gotta do it.
So we were talking about trying to break down a little bit more, and obviously breaking everything is hard, but a number I was reading is $5,000 to $10,000 a month. If you break out things that are that large, when you're trying to analyze professional fees, that's a lot of money, and it's not visible what it is. But if you break things down that came out to more than say $5,000 to $10,000 a month, it breaks those down, and there'd be 5 or 6 things there to see, and that would be helpful, especially we're looking at budgeting and trying to figure out where we're going. When you got big lumps, you can't evaluate that.
So my question, Max, is if we did that for professional fee, the
Well,
bigger items.
Any item that was more than $5,000 to $10,000 a month would break those down, and that's not going to be all of them, but there'd be some of them.
You would be talking a lot of expenditures. You would be requesting a report that would be pages long, because most of our expenditures are $5,000 to $10,000.
So what we did, Max, in the proposed budget, we went ahead and broke it down a little bit further to try to give you a little bit more detail. So you'll see that next, because I know that you want that. And then I also want to invite you in, like I mentioned in my email to you,
Right.
is I really want you to see our systems that are in place so that you can get a really, I can, this is like reading an appendix, I get it.
Right.
Like appendix in a book, and you really want to see. So I really invite you to kind of sit down with me, and I'll show you through the process. It's a really, I don't want to use the word methodical, but it is. It's a process, and it involves a lot of folks. And so that's why we've been able to reduce our expenses, because that manager who's making that decision to buy that paper clip is actually seeing how it's coming out of their budget, and is actually seeing the item has to then approve it. Once they've completed that approving process, it can go into the next level management, then it can go into our business office, and then finally it comes to me. So there's multiple layers that are seen. So I think once you get to see that, you'll understand a little bit more inside. You'll get to see the inside of it.
And I've always said that if you want to see any detail for any of these numbers, I can provide it.
Right.
I
From
just
talking to
need-
a couple of professional CPAs that used to run Granite Rock, he said what you should see is 5 to 10,000, anything more than 5 to 10,000 a month to be broken out and see that. It'd be a lot more detail, but that's like professional fees would be broken up. This is lawyers, this is locums, this is the contract with Natividad, et cetera. If you're trying to analyze where money's going, you can do that. You can't analyze where money's going without breaking down some of those things. You're seeing it,
I
but
am.
the board's not seeing that, so all we can say is, hey, those look like good numbers, and looks like we're going up now, but we can't analyze anything else. And that's what I was advised to ask for specifically. With the two things was to look at $5,000 to $10,000 per month, have those broken down, and to look back on a 3 to 5 year trend on our accounts receivables
How many years?
aging. Excuse me?
How many years did you say?
3 to 5.
Oh, 3 to 5. I
Not
thought you said
35, no.
35.
Yeah. And look, and again, part of it is that receivables aging trend, what's current 30, 60, 90, and that trend shows an attitude of where we're making progress or where we're falling down.
I can tell you, being a banker, trends is all we look at, and we're in a good trend. And I could certainly show you that as well. And I
That-
can show you that, those details in each one of these categories. And I think if you get to see it from this perspective, you'll appreciate what's in these numbers. I think maybe that's where we can start, and then you can decide, once you get to see kind of the innards, then you can decide what you want.
Because otherwise it could get costly with,
Yes.
no
and-
offense, Mr. CPA. but,
Yeah.
You know.
But-
And I think we process,
But maybe meeting
Meet
and
with
getting
Ivan.
it directly, and then if the answers aren't given from
Clear.
her, then go this way.
Well, the point is, you don't want to see some of that detail?
Well, I'm trusting what she's doing.
Well,
especially
there's
the
nothing wrong with
trend that's
trusting,
going.
but you're responsible for what she does.
I understand
And if
that.
just trusting, you gotta look at the numbers, hey, this is not going that way, to ask questions. If we don't see those numbers, we can't ask those questions.
But I can go in and talk to her one-on-one if I want.
Yes, but we're all supposed to have the same information. If you're
Well,
always in
you're more than
one-on-one,
welcome
then
to
we,
go in.
I know that, but as was corrected earlier when I was talking about that, we need to have that
I'm
information.
just trying to save expense of the district because of the CPA. Because if he's, like he said, he goes, it's volumes of numbers.
It is.
and-
Okay.
and,
you know,
and it's not just me, just so that I'm clear, Brent is actually checking on us as well on the back end. So even after we enter all of our information, he's going back there and checking ourselves. So it does go through multiple layers and multiple hands. You guys get to see the final product of it all, but it is going through multiple checks before it comes to the table here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I see you want to analyze these expenses, but like Ida said, she's open to meeting with you, and she can break things down for you, the professional fees, and
Well, it's not just that I want to analyze, the elected board members are accountable to the people
But
for
I
how
have
things go.
confidence in Ida, so.
So I can give you a good
Yes.
example. If you turn to page 43, these are the district expenditures comparing the budget to the actual. You look at professional fees, 226,000 versus 169,000. Now,
Right.
I looked at that and I know 27,000 of that is the election expense.
Okay.
Oh,
Just because, I look at these numbers all the time. So I know 27,000 of that 57,000 is explained by the increase because of the election.
Right.
Okay, I also know that the other major increase there is the attorney fees. Okay, so, but if that's the detail that you wanna see, I can provide that for you. I can outline exactly what makes up those numbers so that you can see that. That doesn't take, it just takes another little line item or maybe something right down below so that you can see that increase. But if you wanted it for every $5,000 expenditure, if I was looking at this as an outsider, I would look at, okay, my salaries are 40,000 over budget, my professional fees are 57, my other expenses are 97. I would want to know those because if I knew those, that would explain the variance. And I could outline that for you without any problem because as I go through this, I would just put it down below. And so if that's what you want to see, I can do that. It's just, I need to have a feel from the board as to what you want. If you want it more detailed, I can provide more detail. But, are you
Well, you would get that
Having
feel
been on
from
boards,
Max, he's the one
having been on
that's
boards, you
requesting
either,
one, right?
are you taking a macro approach or are you taking a micro approach? And so if you want to micromanage and look at every single detail, I can provide that. If you want to look at it as from a macro standpoint and just kind of look at the overall and get some explanation as to some of the variances, I can provide that too. So it just depends on what the.
It's
board
not to micromanage things, but if we don't understand the detail, how can we measure where things are other than, oh, it's going, and that's the point.
And I think in all fairness to you, Matt, I think he's right on with this point. We've all been around for so long and we've kind of seen these numbers. You're kind of just barely getting a glimpse and starting with it. So we all know where things are coming from. So for you, it's still, it takes a couple of years to kind of.
Well, I don't think it's even that. I get the impression from the conversations that most of the board members say, okay, I don't care what that breakdown
No,
is.
I didn't say I didn't care.
Well, but that's why I'm saying the breakdown is
I didn't say
necessary.
I didn't care because we're all concerned about the bottom dollar.
Right?
Yeah.
And for you to make a statement like that is
Well,
not true.
well,
And
that's why we should be looking at some of that data, because we're supposed to look at and come with a
We
consensus.
knew that the professional fees, so she reported at the last meeting that the election was 30,000
Right.
and 27,000. We talked about attorney fees, we knew that was that, and that gets lumped into professional fees. So, I mean, that was brought up at the last meeting.
Okay,
The salaries, we understand that.
Thank
But
you.
anyway,
okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Brian?
Not on the treasurer's report. I
Okay.
have the budget for the 24, but I think that's a separate line.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, it is.
Okay, so let's go to a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Roll call vote?
Graig,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes,
Rosemary,
Yes,
and Matt.
Yes.
Okay, so the next item is this separate package that you have.
It's right here, so if you put it at you gave everyone right, so if
It's
you.
not part of your
it's not in here.
packet.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's separate.
It's a separate,
Stapled,
you should have it in addition to,
does she have it,
I don't
Sophie?
know if she has it unless it's over here.
Let's see, is it in here?
It's one of those
Yes,
small,
I brought my
probably
packet.
underneath it.
I brought my packet from home.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay. So this is just a preliminary. We haven't had a meeting. We've gone through some of the salaries. We have a few more things to tighten up on the salaries. I've calculated depreciation, what the depreciation will be for next year. But what I've done is, if you skip to the second page, this will kind of give you an idea. This is the district expenditures. So what I've done is I put the previous, there's 4 years worth of history here, so that you can kind of see a 4-year history. You'll have the fiscal year in 2020, you'll have the fiscal year 21, you'll have the fiscal year 22, and then what I just reported, the 10 months for the fiscal year in 2023, okay? And then I have a projected budget for 24. We're not presenting this to be approved today by far. We're not even close to presenting this, okay? So this is just to give you an idea of kind of where we're at as of today. There are a lot of line items that still need some adjusting. We need to go through the revenues and see if the revenue projections are reasonable. We need to look at major projects that the district may need to incur during this next fiscal year, add those to the budget. There's a lot of things that we need to do, okay? So this is just to kind of give us a ballpark as to where we may be, okay? So for example, on the district revenues, I've taken the top line, the property taxes. You'll see the property taxes for the last 4 years. This is on page 2 at the very top. They're not numbered. No, it would be the last page in your document. I'm sorry, I brought mine on from
Last page in the
my
packet?
office.
Okay,
The district, there we go. I'm sorry.
okay.
Mine got in a different
The
order.
last
The very
page.
last page.
The
yeah.
last page. Okay? Are we all there?
Oh, there we are, okay, yeah.
So you'll see property taxes, 408,250. What I did was I took a 5% growth because we're averaging about a 5% growth over these 4-year periods. And so I took another 5% growth and put that on for the property taxes. And I've done that, you know, for the salaries. I've received a projected salary for each department and for each employee, and I've been able to accumulate those into here. Now, I had some questions. I just finished this yesterday, so there's some things that we still need to review.
This is definitely a draft.
Okay, but done the salaries, done the payroll taxes, and I've done you know, pretty much all the line items. But we may go through there and realize, you know, we may want to budget more for traveling nurses, or we may want to budget more for legal. And those are the kind of things that we will be discussing as we try to prepare this for its final
I'm gonna ask the
version.
rules. You know, the way that this is proposed, it shows a $780,000 loss.
But that's just the district expenditures that get shared by Eden Valley and by the medical plan, okay? So let's go to Eden Valley, which would be your page 2. Go back to Eden Valley, there you go, that page right there.
Okay.
Maybe one more. There you go. Okay? So you look at the top line item, the skilled nursing facility Medicare, and you'll see the revenues of $2,160,000. Okay? What I did, I believe that's $180,000 per month. Last month we had $236,000. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So if you know, we could take a more aggressive approach to this and say, you know, we're going to have 59 beds full 12 months of the year. And you know, I could budget $230,000 a year, and we can make this budget look really nice. But history tells us that our beds aren't full 12 months of the year. You know, and so I took a conservative approach, not real conservative, but a conservative. If you look at the prior years, I mean, it's almost double anything for the last 4 years. But it's in line with what we're doing today. So those are some of the things that we'll be discussing as Ida and everybody else on the audit team or the budget team looks at this and then presents it to you. Okay? I just wanted to kind of give you some examples of what we're doing to try to give you a budget. And then, you know, if the board wants to see individual line items, so like, let's say for example, let's go to page 3, and you'll see, I'm going to pick on the accountants. If you go to page 3, about 2/3 of the way down under general administration, you'll see accounting. You'll say 225,000, that looks a little high. If you want to see detail for that, I can provide detail for that. Okay? So those are the type of things when we present the budget to you. I don't foresee us giving you the detail as you look at it here, but if there's, you know, we'll give it to you in plenty of time so that you can review it, and then if there's anything that you want to see to say that looks too high to me, then we can go back through and tell you exactly what we've included in there. Okay? But hopefully you'll have confidence in, you know, an item, myself, and any of the board members, such as I know Max wants to participate.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be going through those numbers and we'll be presenting those to you in a format such as this.
And we talked about finalizing it, and it probably, you know, given trying to finalize these numbers, if history has it, we do it in August, so that's most likely when we'll finalize the budget.
Right.
In August.
The code calls to present a proposed budget like at the June meeting, and that's a proposed, and that's what you start the year with, and then you finalize it by 1st of September.
Yeah,
So yes.
So we'll bring you another draft, and I know Max wanted to be a part of that. I know you didn't have time this month, but next month it sounds like you do. So we'll start digging it and then bring another proposal and then get to the final product by August, September.
Okay?
Perfect.
But just go back to the front page, now that I've kind of talked about the detail and how this works. So what you'll see here, if you look at Eden Valley, They're gonna show, based on this budget, based on the numbers that I have in there right now, they're gonna show a profit of 774,000. Bottom line, about third column, middle column, okay? 774,000, bottom line, very bottom line.
You're talking on that last page for us, right? You said
The
first.
top front page, the summary,
Okay.
okay? The clinic will show a loss of 954,000, and the district will show a profit of 430,000, which is basically its property tax revenues. So right now, we're showing a surplus of 250,000 for the next fiscal year. Now you're saying, wow, that looks great. What this doesn't include is the PPS settlement. Last year it was 1.2 million. Okay, we put that 1.2 million in here, and I think we should. We put the 1.2 million in here. We're now at $1 million loss. We have to figure out, okay, are my estimates for revenue too conservative? Let's bump those up a little bit. You know, maybe let's make some more cuts in our expenditures. You know, maybe, you know, we've budgeted for some salary increases. Maybe those salary increases aren't as much as, you know, we can't afford that much salary increase. Maybe we reduce that a little bit. You know, it gives us a working idea of what we need to do. But so for right now, if we have the same PPS settlement as we did this prior fiscal year, our budget right now, as it looks right now, we're about $1 million in the hole. Okay, we can look at revenues and see if I'm too conservative, and you know, maybe we say average bed occupancy for Eden Valley is 50 beds, and we multiply that out. Or maybe, because I think right now, if you look at it, it's probably closer to 45. So, you know, we can look at that. But those are the things that we'll work on, and then we'll present to you in June. Okay? So we're not asking for any action today. We're just presenting this to give you an idea of what we're working on and what's going to be coming to you, a proposed budget in June, and then a final budget sometime either in July or August. And then I need to report to you that I will not be here in June. So my vacation plans are that I will not be here, but so I will be working with staff to get the monthly treasurer's report completed before I leave, and we'll get as much of the budget done so that we can present a proposed budget, knowing that we're going to make some final revisions in July and August.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of Brent?
Will we having a Zoom meeting?
No, that was just for the attorney.
Oh, because it said, yeah.
Yeah, it turned off.
Okay.
You have a graduation?
No, I'm actually
He's
finally
actually
going to take a
taking
2-week vacation. I haven't had one in 10 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you, Brent.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for all your hard
Thank
work. I
you
appreciate
for
you.
your, over all the years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 13, revised employee handbook.
Yeah, so I which one? No. 12.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I got skipped ahead. I apologize. Resolution number 2023-03 to terminate the 403B plan.
So I did want to give you some background, and I want to do this more for you, Max, because you weren't here in the beginning, so
I've been through this and I understand.
are you okay with it? Or do you want
Yes,
some
I
more
understand
background?
that we shouldn't have a 403B and it went on hold. We had to get permission from the IRS to roll it in, and we now have that approval, so we can do
Okay.
that. Yeah, I did a lot of research on that because what is this talking about?
Yeah, we were not eligible, so good,
Right,
thank you
right.
for doing that.
I understand on our behalf, it was a common mistake because, again, a nonprofit organization, which we are not for profit, but we're not a nonprofit, could use that. And most accountants say, oh, you're a nonprofit. And they set you up that way, which is their mistake. And it's been that way for years, but it wasn't long enough to grandfather the old plan. So this.
Okay, so then we'll entertain a motion.
I move we adopt resolution 202303 to terminate the 403B plan and roll it into our current 457B.
Thank you, Max. So I have a second.
Before he goes there, it won't be quite a roll-in, it'll be up to the individual, if so they wish.
I'll amend my motion to adopt resolution 2023 .03 to terminate the 403B plans
Yes.
for the individuals to determine what they want to do with their plan.
Yes.
Thank you,
That
Maggie.
that does make
Yeah.
sense.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Maggie seconds. Roll call?
Graig,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Rosemary,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Yes.
Now we go on to 13. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's
Skipping that.
okay.
Revised employee handbook. Ida?
All right, before I go on with my details, does anybody have any questions, or can I just go on to the details here?
I don't want to ask it that way.
Do you want me to,
Well, no, I'm saying is I went through the first 15 pages and there's a lot of things that the table of contents doesn't line up with the paragraphs
Okay.
and numbers, and it's not administratively ready to issue is one thing.
Okay, and that's because, so we had to take our old handbook and we sent it off to the attorneys, and then they came back with that. But we can certainly, do that change if approved. We can make sure that it all lines up correctly and accurately, if motion. But if I may just give you guys some highlights of what you guys will be seeing. So there's been a lot of new laws that have gone into effect that have made it so that we need to update the employee handbook. One of them is the bereavement policy, has been updated to reflect the most required, to expand it to 5 days unpaid. In the past, we would offer 3 days, but now the new bereavement policy is that it would be 5 days unpaid. So in staying in line with that new change, we went ahead and changed that as well. The other thing is that our PTO policy has been updated to reflect changes made from an accrual based on hours worked to a guaranteed amount of each pay period, which means that it can be anywhere from 5 to 7 days, a pay period that one employee will receive based on the number of years of service. So that's been updated. Also, part-time employees will no longer be eligible to receive holiday pay. That is not a required paid benefit, so that is not included. What they are eligible for is California sick pay, so they will receive that. In addition, the PTO cash out policy that we had, which basically allowed for anybody who wanted to cash out PTO anytime, we've been told by the attorney this way, that was incorrect way of doing it. So we amended it, and so the attorney put the way that we have, this way the policy was written is violating an IRS rule known as constructive receipt. So in your packet, there is an update. There will be an amendment to what you see here. So if approved, it will actually be reading this way. So we get 3 choices. 1, we don't offer any cash out. 2 is we offer it in this way, which means if they hit a certain accrual, then they can cash out anything above and beyond that. So it's going to be 200 based on our total accruals. Or the last one is that they have to tell us, for example, in December of this year, that they want to cash out 50 hours next year, but don't get paid till the following year. It's just not. So we think the best fit is this accrual, so that way they don't ever accrue more than, and don't lose it.
You're not offering them this option. You're going to pick one of these is what you're recommending?
What we will offer them this option, because we don't ever want them to lose their PTO. So
Right.
anyone who has more than 200 hours will be at a mandatory to cash out 40 hours. And that's our
Otherwise, it gets too expensive if they
Right.
do it all, you know?
No, well, yes, but the law right now states is either we don't allow them to cash out at all or some. And I didn't want to take it away completely
No.
because staff really likes to have that. So we wanted to at least give them some. And some do accumulate more than 200 hours. So, yeah. So that's the only change to the employee handbook that you'll see. In addition, we no longer have the covered benefit of the float holiday in our employee handbook. This is not only us, but it's a trend in the healthcare industry. This was a couple of reasons. One was the cost and the financial strain, and the other is that we actually did a survey of the staff. And one of the number one things that they said in their survey, among many other things, is they rather see that in pay and benefits. So that's going to be a way that we'll be able to utilize those dollars and plug it back into their increase in salaries.
But you've already stopped doing that.
We did. Yeah. We
You
did
did
January 1st.
I know, I heard you announce it, but we never had any discussion about that other than you just said you're not gonna do it anymore and the manual hadn't changed, so.
The manual had not changed, but the advisory to the staff did change. So the staff was advised, so we gave them ample amount of notice before the change was made. So we did not do it without the notice to the staff. But you're right, the employee handbook, the way that we did it was through amendments. So moving forward is what we'll do is that we can bring every amendment back to you, if that's how you want it presented each time, or we can do it through committee. But we can bring every amendment as it comes to back to you guys in a group so that you can prepare those amendments for it.
Which attorney helped you do all this?
BBK, our same. It's Noel's group.
Noel?
Mm-hmm. It's their labor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's labor, it was labor.
Yeah.
And normally when you do a procedure like that, they would mark where the changes were. So there's some spots you can find that are changed, but there's no marking, so the only way to know is you have to read through everything, basically.
Okay, so
I'm
that's a good suggestion.
Just question to them.
We can certainly do that for the next time. We can bring you the kind of the both side-by-side copy where they're making all the changes.
Well, I guess what I'm recommending, and this is from Navy documents, there's a mark here, this changed. So when somebody's reviewing their manual, they know specifically, oh, that's changed.
Right.
And if they look, they find out nothing else changed, but they know to look for the changes. That's the point. And it's just you put that line or something by the change. So this paragraph is
What the
changed.
changes are with
Yeah.
all these pages.
I'll speak to the attorney on that, on what's the best delivery method for the employee, as far as, is it, like a summary, or is it something within the document itself? Because remember, this is going to employees that are new. They don't care about any changes, right?
Well,
It's only the people that are
No, but
here.
I think he's referring to the board's information.
well, I'm saying the board and also the employees, because if employees gonna look up problems, they're gonna look and they're gonna say, hey, this has changed. And there are some things that employees look to, how this policy works. Or if they didn't, then obviously they're not paying attention to their job, or we're wasting our time, give it to them, have them sign that they acknowledge receiving this dead tree. I mean, it's a lot of paper. It's important paper, but it's a lot of paper. So.
Couldn't you have a meeting with the employees?
We do, and we will, and that's how we're gonna present it. It's relevant to existing employees. A new employee's not gonna care. It's in a handbook, right?
But
we
you
could
tell
certainly-
the current employees, these are the changes that have been made.
Yeah, and I can tell you guys, they already know about the changes. Because we hand them a memo each time there's a change.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're already well aware, but we can certainly, when we meet with them one-on-one, to give them their.
or don't you have like staff meetings or something and you could?
They do, but we're gonna take it a little bit further step, and we're gonna do one-on-ones with them.
Oh, with every employee?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Because we're and going into benefit enrollment, so we're planning on doing it during that time. Yes, so we're gonna have each employee attest, so we'll definitely give them a summary, Max, of all the changes,
Right.
especially the existing ones.
Two questions. Back end, it talks about emergencies, earthquakes and fire. They're really general. I wonder if it's consistent with the disaster plan that Celia was working on. And in general, it didn't necessarily appear to me.
Okay, I do have an update on that. I don't have it with, I can't remember, but that was addressed to the attorney.
Okay, and then so that's one question. Because there should be consistency between our emergency plan and what's in the handbook. And the second question, and my understanding is every public employee is a disaster worker and that can be mobilized, and they should be aware. School teachers are disaster workers. So if there's a disaster, we can be deployed. Well, I think we are all, everyone here can be deployed as a disaster worker. I don't know if they aware of that, but I don't even know who declares, who can activate that. Can Anna, or does it take the governor? But if the employees, they should be aware of that. If that isn't an obligation they may not be aware of. Does that make sense, Ida?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did talk to Charisma about that, so she knows what I'm talking about. I gave her
Yeah,
some-
and I know when we put this out to the attorney, I know they mentioned it, but I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
So
but I gave her some examples of what other
Yeah,
counties
and
do.
it totally makes sense, so I have those two written down. Just a couple more comments. Education assistance has been removed from the handbook. This is not a required covered benefit.
Oh, you're not, no. What about licensing?
That's a negotiating and contract for doctors. And that's, some negotiated and it is
Okay.
covered. Equal employment opportunity policy has been updated to reflect the most recent requirements. Employment categories have been adjusted to recognize full-time hours as 32 hours per week
Really?
versus previously was 30 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Our introductory period has been removed as it can jeopardize our at-will status.
Is there a probationary period?
90 days typically.
And that's in here?
You said you removed the introductory period?
Yeah, 90 days.
You said you removed it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's in here.
You found it?
Yes.
What page?
Let me go back, because it was in the employee status. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Let me look, to make sure I'm not wrong. I remember reading it, maybe, immigration law. Employment categories, introductory, regular, temporary, and on-call.
As long as it doesn't say 90 days.
Initial 90 days or 3 months of employment
What
for
page
newly
is that
hired.
on?
It's on page 8, or page 62 if you look in the board package.
Okay. So that needs to be removed, just so that you know. We cannot have that in there. So I thank you, Max. for-
Yeah, I didn't know you couldn't, but I remember reading
No.
it, that's why.
Yeah, we didn't know either. It's, the attorney is the one who brought that to our attention. So that's it's 1.6A.
Let me go back, I think so.
1.6A. Okay, so we'll remove that. Donation of PTO hours has been updated to reflect new IRS rules, which we've talked about already.
Yep.
Medical examinations and annual health screening policy was updated to reflect the district, which will select the provider to pay for the exam test. However, if employees who use their own provider will do at their own cost. So our provider and exam test is typically the clinic. We underwrite that cost.
Right.
And those were all of the changes that were done. Oh, just to go back, the donation of PTO, donation of PTO has been updated to reflect. So that means like, if somebody has a serious health condition, I can donate my PTO to them. But let's say that that person's condition improves and there's a bucket left of PTO hours. Those don't go back to the donors, they go back to the district, and then the district can discontinue them. That's what that meant. So we had to incorporate that. It's called WH38, serious health condition.
I did have one other quick, let me find it. It had to do with immigration status and W-9s or I-9s and stuff, and I let me find it real quick. It just seemed odd that we talk about we can't discriminate based on that, and then there's another paragraph that says following I-9s. Well, that I-9 paragraph covers that, because we don't discriminate based on their legal immigration status, but you can't work if you can't fill out an I-9 to prove so it's almost like a contradictory. We won't discriminate on that, but we're not gonna hire you if you can't do the I-9. It just seemed kind of,
That's the government,
like-
though. The government requires you to have those, don't they?
correct. No, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, is the I-9, so you
Yeah.
can't say, I mean, if you don't hire somebody because they don't have legal immigration status, that's not discriminating, as long as they pass the I-9 requirement. then that meets that. I just thought it was kind of weird that it says we won't discriminate against you not being a citizen, then the next paragraph says, but employee
What page is
applicants.
that on?
It's on page 3. Employees, applicant, or immigration status will not be considered any employment purpose except as necessary. And then a couple pages later, when it talks about you have to have the legal document, which is the I-9, so it's kind of like a, I don't know. It's kind of weird to say you won't discriminate against that unless the legal thing, and the legal thing is you can't hire them without it anyway.
Right.
Unless
sounds like
lawyers, same as legal lumber jumbo, they have to have, so somebody doesn't sue them, but they're not gonna get hired. I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay,
I think
that's-
that's what it is.
That, I just
and
thought,
good
that
catch-
really
good catch on
looked,
your part, but I think that's ultimately what's happening.
okay. I figured it was legal
And,
bullshit.
and Ann's right, we can't hire without an I-9.
Yes, yeah, that's not a question, that's what I meant,
You
yeah.
can't, you know, you
Yeah.
can't, and you know, it's one of those things that,
Well-
is it our job to be the immigration?
No,
No, but we are
But
tasked
it,
with
but
that.
we are required by the law.
right, well, actually, you can hire somebody without immigration status. They have 3 days after they start working to show the I-9 paperwork, so they can work for 3 days.
And we still would have to pay.
Come up
But-
with it.
but, yeah.
you know, it's just one of those things that the government says you have to do it.
Most agencies I've worked with, though, they don't put you on a shift until you do the I-9, but you're allowed to work them for 3 days while they, anyway.
But you
Anyway,
know,
but that's-
you gotta have it. and-
Yes.
But I've always felt like, why should the employer be the immigration
Well,
warden?
they're not. You don't have to report somebody. You just
No,
can't,
I'm
you
not
just can't
saying
hire
report
them without
I'm
them
not
proving
saying
that
report them,
documents,
but
yes.
You can't hire them, but when they come to you, they should have already been approved to work here.
Agreed.
That's what I did now.
I think the problem is over the years, anyway. I'm certain years ago that was the problem. That's why the I-9 came out. Yes,
You know, it's not our job to, anyway,
yes.
I digress.
So my question is, because Max found a couple of things that you don't want in there, should we hold off and do?
I move we put the approval of the manual off till next month to allow it to be finished, and we can finish perusing better, because handbook. Yeah, I said manual, it's handbook.
Budget.
So table it.
Employee
Yeah,
handbook.
okay, motion?
Yes,
Okay, do I have a
So
second?
table it?
table it.
I'll table it.
Okay, the motion, Max, and second to table it so we can go through that, so that they can go through it more carefully.
If you'd like, I could show you a couple examples of what,
Absolutely.
because I just started highlighting, then I stopped reading because I was
Greg,
too much ink.
Maggie,
Yes,
Rosemary,
Yes.
and Matt.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. District CEO report.
So I do have Julia and Louis Diaz-Infante to give us an update on our food insecurity grant. Let me see if they're here. Oh, I invite them in so that they can do that. I don't see anyone, Sophie.
And nobody's on Zoom.
Okay, well, we do have the PowerPoint.
Slideshow, do you want me?
Yeah, let me just go down the hallway and see if there's anybody in the hallway. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go down to the,
Emily, how's Randall? Better. Thank you. How long has he been here?
About 6 months,
Oh, has he? I didn't know that.
a little short of 6 months.
Can I change it? Oh, I can get it for you. Okay. Move it.
this is a big employee.
Big packet.
It is.
okay.
Well, remember, it's single-sided, so it's twice as big because it's not
Julia
printed
had
both
a
sides.
day off, so, this project started in, June of last year. And, we are near the end of it now. We will end our campaign, at the end of July. We received a $200,000 grant from CCAH. Here's a picture of Aggregator's team at the back and some of the families that received these boxes. And this was at the start of the group. So June 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022, the partnership of Soledad Medical Clinic and Aggregator came together. The goals behind were to improve food security with a 12-week, bi-weekly delivered healthy food box, community resource awareness and nutrition education and outcomes. And so we helped more than 250, the goal at the end is to help more than 250 families or 1,500 boxes would be delivered through Aggregator directly to the home of these families. So food as medicine. So as you know, many chronic conditions are related to healthcare spending are largely preventable with proper nutrition. So let food be the medicine and medicine be the food. Over 40% of Monterey County residents are food insecure, according to a recent study commissioned by the Monterey County Health Department Needs Collaborative. And that's really the truth. If you guys go around our community any day of the week, you will see multiple food lines feeding. And what's different now is that the people that are needing the food are no longer who you thought were going to need the food. It's actually working people who are needing the food supply. So in our box, we were given a complete meal break. So here's a food insecurity index, and this just kind of shows you the greater need is the darker. So if you look, where's the greater need? Soledad, Greenfield, King City. We're right in the heart of it all. And that's why it's important. So right now we're in discussion. Julia is about to have her little one within a couple of weeks.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's having a little girl. And so we're trying to figure out timing of it all and see if we want to embark on this once again for another year. It was a lot of work. It took a lot of maneuvering, a lot of setting up of processes in the clinic in order to establish this program effectively. But the outcomes and benefits are significant. She has the class every Tuesday at the high school where she's meeting over 30 patients every Tuesday and giving them education.
How much was the grant that they gave you? How much was it?
200,000.
How much?
200,000.
Does that cover all the food boxes and more, or is it pretty much cover the food boxes, or how?
I wrote in there some of her costs as well, her education material, and her support, because it takes one front office technician. She does about 70% of her time develop
I would think so.
into
So,
this
so
program.
does 200,000 cover the food boxes pretty close?
All of it.
So that covers the food boxes, but that's what it covers is food. Okay. And we
And a
support
little bit
it.
towards salary, right?
50% of Julia's salary,
Yeah.
and 70% of the front office gal.
But
Oh, cool.
was a lot of the food donated, wasn't it?
No, we
The
actually.
produce wasn't donated?
No, we contract Aggregator and they get it at cost for us.
Oh.
I negotiated a really good fee with them, to be honest with you, so I think I got the boxes at, I don't know, like maybe $10 or $20 or something. Yeah, I really, and because we're the pilot for them, right? They wanted to embark, so what's happened since then, because we were willing to pilot with them and nobody else was, they are now, I just got a call from Monterey County Health Department. I partnered with them. And that was always my goal. It wasn't just for us to have it, it was for another organization larger we were just the launching pad for them to take it and spread it out among our community. We can't do it all for everyone. So we need their support. So their Aggregator and them are talking. He's done it in other areas already. This is spreading throughout our whole county now.
So it's food boxes plus
Education.
nutritional dietary education. Okay, that's good.
So food box content is a diabetic appropriate recipe for eatfresh.org. Mainly vegetables and a small portion of fruit, includes 2 to 4 canned items such as beans, tomato, and corn. 1 item of lean protein such as fish, chicken, or turkey and eggs. 1 to 2 dairy items such as yogurt, cheese, and milk. Carbohydrates such as pasta, whole grain rice, whole wheat tortillas, and beans.
How did the families like it?
You know, and, you know, health comes in different ways and different fashions. And, you know, one of the health mechanisms is visit your doctor and he gives you a medication. But this food is feeding the soul. And it's feeding the family.
Yeah.
Because we give them enough food to feed, sometimes this lasts them all week.
I bet it was well received.
Very well received, very well received. And we also have partnered with CCAH. You know, Julia only speaks English, and you know, 70-80% of her clients are Spanish speaking. CCAH actually will sends a translator.
Really?
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Well, and it's a good bridge with CCAH. It's a good bridge.
Yeah.
What's the acronym, CC, what was that?
Central Coast Alliance for Health.
Oh,
Is this distributed over by the Catholic Church, or is that a different food giveaway over there? I've seen lines around the street and nice cars parked over there waiting, but I had no
yeah,
idea.
that's the Monterey
We-
County Food Bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
These we deliver directly to their homes.
Got it.
Because remember, one of the other issues is transportation.
Right.
People don't have, and some of the people, they just, so we didn't want that to be an obstacle. So aggregator actually hand delivers it to their homes. Yeah. Target population program design is diabetics, pre-diabetics, pregnant and gestational diabetes, childhood obesity, and other DX appropriate to receive medical nutrition therapy. Look at that food. Those are the food boxes. So that's actually, you guys are looking at a box. Look at there's hamburger
That's
buns.
good stuff.
It's really meal tailored
Healthy.
and healthy stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that Julia measures is her A1C,
Oh,
and it's been dramatic.
yeah, so.
It has. You know, healthy eating is very expensive, and people can't afford it. So, you know, when you want a healthy item, you rather run down to McDonald's because you can feed your family on $10 than trying to buy $9. That's probably like 20 or 30, right?
And there's not a lot of tortillas up here.
No, and if there is, it's healthy
It's whole
tortillas.
wheat, whole wheat tortillas.
Yeah. And so they've made deals with like La Rosa, so we don't have to source any of that. Aggregators does all the sourcing.
And then they put the box together.
And they put it all together. We do nothing
They put the box
Except
and then
giving
you
them-
deliver it.
except giving them the dollars.
We don't deliver.
No, they do it all. They even do the delivery.
Really?
All we just do is pay them their fees. Program design, continuing education on diabetes. 2 group.
And this stops. I mean, they're not gonna renew this?
Well, that's what we're in, no. We're in conversation right now as a team. We had a team meeting this week about continuing the program.
Will they get granted again?
The grant's open again.
But
Will they get
if we
more?
have a person to run it.
So the answer is yes, will they grant it again? Yes, they'll give more, but if you ask for more, you have to do more. So we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah.
So I think this comfort zone that we have right now is we only have one dietitian. And remember, she sees the needs of other needs that may be coming her way from the doctors, from the providers. Education component is diabetics, 2 group visits with 3 participants, each at 1.5 hours covering diabetics. Oh, there he is. Self-management, education, and support.
And who's that?
Louis from Aggregator. Hi, Louis.
Hello.
Good
How's everyone doing?
Good evening. Yes, we're here. How are you today? There he is.
There you go.
Louis, we're just going over the presentation of the program, but you know, before we go on, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself to the group again? You're here with all the board of directors, and then maybe share a little bit what this program started and what it means to Aggregator to be partnered with us.
Well, I CCAH has some grants, the Partners for Food Access, and we became aware of that by working with CCAH, and it's a $200,000 grant. So we've been going out to the community and telling various organizations and healthcare providers about these grants. I can tell everybody that, Soledad Medical Clinic was the first one to receive the grant and establish a program providing healthy food out to the community, to your patients. And it's been an amazing project. We're working with other programs. We're doing medically tailored meals, but this one has been wonderful. And as I meet others in the local area that have Medi-Cal patients, they always ask me, who's doing it? I said, well, Soledad Medical Clinic's doing an amazing job. And I tell about everybody who's involved, like yourself, Ida and Julia, and how everybody is loving the program. They're receiving the food is home delivered. So as we're developing other programs, we always keep in mind the Soledad Medical Clinic's been the first one. And as I said, other organizations that are receiving the grants, they ask who's doing it, and we're always telling them that it's Soledad Medical Clinic. So they may be reaching out to you, because you basically have been the pioneer out here in this area.
Thank you. Well, and we couldn't have done it without your partnership and being able to source such great food. The board just seen all the pictures of the great food. Can you talk about a little bit of who else you're partnering with? I know you and I just talked with the Monterey County Health Department, and they're very interested in this project.
Yeah, they wait to hear and see that you got approved. We're working with the VNA, with Jay Roots over there. They already got approved. Jacob's Heart got approved. We're helping a little bit with some of the sourcing of the product that they need. The other one that got the grant also was San Lucia Medical Clinic. But they're partnering up with the food bank. And then I'm also going to be working with Alzheimer's Association. They're applying. And I just spoke yesterday with Sutter Health up in Santa Cruz with their VNA program. So the word's getting out.
It is, right? And we started this a year ago, and
yeah.
to see where we started and where it's expanding. So just to let you know, we're in talks right now of continuing the program and applying for an additional $200,000.
Yes, I mean right now there's 5 organizations that have received it. That's $1 million.
That's wonderful.
That CCH has granted. I don't know how much more money they have, but I'm sure they're going to keep going, because food is medicine, and doctors and everybody in the healthcare industry is finding out that you can cure with food. And it doesn't have to be all these medicines, and that's the big wave right now. And as I can say again, Soledad Medical Clinic has been the pioneer of this food is medicine program, and, along with this CCH grant.
I'd love to see maybe if your organization aggregator has a report of how many boxes you guys have, put out there since the exception, since we started back in June, and like all these different areas. That would be good to kind of share back with the board, maybe if you have something like that.
Yeah, so we have that data that we would love to share it with you. I can tell you that it's been 100% fulfillment.
Nice.
I mean, and that's, home delivery. We're not Hello Fresh or Hungry Root or anybody like Blue Apron, but, we're aggregator in Watsonville, but we deliver, down to King City. Yeah. I've done deliveries myself.
Yeah.
We didn't have a driver. I did it. Our CEO, Doug, did it. Anthony, our senior a new business development director. He's done it. We just roll up our sleeves and say, we gotta get those food boxes out there. But it also gives us the experience, you know, of what it takes to deliver these boxes and to ensure that everybody receives their box. And I can tell you, I've come across some big smiles out there.
Yeah.
When people, I give them their box, it was just amazing, you know.
Well, thank you. I'm just gonna continue on with a couple more slides, and then I'll come back to you maybe for some closing remarks. Pre-diabetics and other nutrition related, so they get 4 Food Smarts classes taught using the Leia's Pantry curriculum, which was also paid through this grant, up to 30 attendees per class. Groups each of 1.5 hours long with 1 hour of nutrition, discussion, and 30 minutes of cooking demonstration.
Where do they hold the classes?
We partnered with the Soledad High School, and we're in the multi-gym.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there's a pic of the classes, and the gentleman in the vest is a CCAH translator.
Ah.
And there's Julia giving one of her classes.
And you have to do it during the daytime or at night?
Yeah, day around 4. Yeah.
You know, I'm a diabetic, and I had to take 4 classes. I had to go up to the prime care.
Yes.
And take 4 classes,
Yep.
like once a month. Take each one of the
Yeah.
same ones that they're having.
Sure
they're
looks
offering
good.
here.
Yeah, it's really good.
Mhm.
And Julia loves cooking. So there's a demonstration by a family member with their happy face actually making the food themselves.
Okay.
Okay. Children, she incorporates families. So she invites not only the patient, but she invites the patient to bring their families. And back to your tortillas, Max, there's 100% whole wheat tortilla there. So healthy choices.
Oh, we're happy now. Wait a minute. Okay, does it go there? Can you hear? A little bit.
I want to share with people who watched this video about the boxes that we're receiving every 15 days. They're helping us and our child a lot to change the way we do things around the house and how we cook and, you know, how healthy we eat.
Gracias. Sí, presentaba yo también para mí porque ya había subido yo algo más de peso y estos 3 meses bajé, sin hacer mucho ejercicio, bajé tanta vida, como 18 libras, bajé. Y la caja, esa nos ayudó mucho, la caja que nos tomó. Gracias.
So it's also been helpful for me because I had gained weight and during the last 3 months I've lost some weight without even exercising that much. I've lost about 18 pounds with that box.
Muchas gracias por la ayuda que nos están dando, por la salud, más que nada. Ellos están por ahí, no por verse por fuera, sino por sentirse por dentro.
So thank you very much for your help and, you know, because this is so good for our health, it's like a price. It's not just about how you look on the outside, but also, I mean, most importantly, how you look inside. How you feel inside, sorry.
Perfect, thank you.
So that little boy, he actually, I don't know if you noticed, he has behavioral issues because he has autism. And so before he started working with me, he had like a list of 5 things that he would eat, and it was mostly fast food. And with the box, they were able to inject healthy food into the home, and with the recipes and the nutrition education component, like specialized for me, he's now lost some weight, but more importantly, he's eating more variety and he's moving and he's got a good attitude about it, and just really proud of their family. So they were a good showpiece for the program, I feel like.
Is that the last one?
There's another video.
Yeah? Okay. Since I started the classes, I've been feeling better.
Turn it up higher
with
so
the veggies, stuff like that. I've been feeling stronger with the food in the box. I feel numbness in my feet, now I feel better. Start running, little by little. Yeah. That's it.
Did you learn how to check your blood sugar better? And
Oh,
what
I learned how to check my blood sugar, learn how to eat healthy with no meat, control my sugar levels all the time.
Yeah, you're using the Dexcom too.
And using the Dexcom and learning how to read it. And what did I need to eat when my sugar levels are low. What did I need to eat all the time? So it's making me just feel better than before.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, those were just two patients. I'm sorry, I don't know what you guys talked about.
So we went
before.
through all your slides.
Oh, you
This
did?
is what, yes, this is where we're at.
Okay.
So if you like
I was in
to,
the hallway. I didn't.
oh,
read
I went out looking for you and didn't find you. Yeah, went out and came
No,
back
I've been
in.
there for like 15 minutes.
Oh, we did. We've been in here.
But it's a good job you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, very good, thank you.
So
I'm
if
sad
you wanna do this part and
Yeah, definitely.
Louis on
Shoot.
Louis. That's okay.
That's frustrating.
You gave a good presentation.
Okay, well, so 33 families are currently receiving the boxes, 104 families have completed it, and 137 total have been enrolled to this time, and then that reaches 673 persons in our community. So, yeah, okay.
That's a major impact on this community.
Yes.
It really is.
So,
You should be very proud.
it may seem like small fry, but in reality, when you look at the impact on their health and the things that they learned, hopefully they're gonna continue to benefit from the program because of the education component for long-term food security. I feel like that was really important as well. But the blood pressure's improved. 64 of our adults at our midpoint in January had both pre and post values, and so 66% had improvement in their upper numbers, systolic, and 61% had improvement also with their diastolic numbers. And it was an average of 5 points lower for the top number, 4 points lower for the bottom number. As you guys know, blood pressure, entirely, it affects the entire health of the body, so go ahead. These are the three main things that we tracked: the blood pressure, BMI, and A1C. And we had 65% of the participants improve their BMI, which is the height to weight ratio. So in other words, if a heavier person loses more weight, that's important for that person. Their BMI would improve, versus a smaller person doesn't need to lose as much weight. So it was about a 1 point drop for the 52 participants that had got data from the beginning to the end of their box by January, which is actually a lot of weight when you look at the actual weight numbers, pounds that were lost, because that's a percentage, that's a point drop. So like a BMI of 30 would be obese, and then a BMI of 29 would be in the overweight category, for example. I don't know if you guys know what BMI stands for. Is that an okay explanation for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the A1C, this is super important for patients with diabetes, the average reduction was 0.8 percentage points for the 29 patients we had start and data for, and 62% of them had improved A1Cs. Not everybody completed their education component, so some of these numbers would have been improved, I think, if we had had, you know, better
Compliance.
yeah, but I mean, I'm proud of it regardless, because
Should
it
be.
is difficult to get
You should.
participation from some people that have had diabetes for many years, because they feel like, I already know it, you know, and things like that. So it's hard to come to appointments for nutrition for people with diabetes often. And especially that one gentleman that did the video, he had been completely unengaged with his diabetes care, and then recently had re-engaged with it. So this was a nice assistance for him, and many of the patients had the same experience where they learned how to control their blood sugars better. So this talks about the food insecurity screen score. So we use that 6-point food insecurity score, and 0 to 1 was high food security. In other words, they didn't need a lot of help with food. And 2 to 4 was moderate, and 5 to 6 was very high food insecurity. So if you see the spectrum here, worry about food supply would be like maybe a 0 to 1. Food ran out, poorly balanced meals, cutting size of meals would be like a 2 to 4. Skipping meals, weight loss, not eating for an entire day would be like 5 to 6. So our baseline, our starting score was an average of 4.45, and the end, after we distributed the boxes, during the period where they received the boxes, their answers for the same 6 questions went down to a 1.3. So we had a reduction of 3.45 points on this scale, which means we were, you know, close to the highest food insecurity, and then it dropped down to closer to the lowest food insecurity for those patients during a period of vulnerability. Because the winter here in Soledad, especially this winter, where we didn't have a lot, we had a lot of rain, there was a lot less work than normal for a longer period of time. And so that was it showed that it was enough to help supplement. Plus I educated them on how to get to the food bank, how to get food stamps, and a lot of the families did follow up with that. So there was more than one source of help with food during the winter for those families. So I feel good about it. It was rewarding to see the changes and the assistance, and a lot of people really said how much they appreciate it.
Is that your last slide?
Yeah, I think so.
So any last closing comments? This was Julia's passion project, and has been Julia's passion project, and she's the one that brought it to us. And so she's done an excellent job. So thank you, Julia, for everything. As I mentioned, Julia is going to be out with a little one. So we have met and we talked about continuing to our program, and we're in discussions about that. So any last closing comments, Louis, on your behalf?
Well, I want to commend Julia for an amazing job she's done, and also for your leadership, Ida. We wouldn't have done this without you and the whole team there with Julia. It's always a big, not a trophy, but just something amazing that we're able to share with other people, other organizations, as we move forward with the Food as Medicine program. And the results are there. It works.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
A big round of applause for Julia and Louis. This is wonderful. So thank you both. We appreciate you both, and we'll look forward to our next campaign. Hopefully soon.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You know, you represented the
You're
district
welcome.
well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm sorry, sweetie, what?
Represented the district well.
Yes, they're good.
Yes.
I'm glad your name was on the box, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
This was a lot easier than the way we used to do it with all the bags.
Okay, so did he tell you all about the initial pilot for this actual program that we do now? Mr. Stevens was there on the front line with me.
Oh,
She went out and got food from all over the world. Her car was filled, and then we had it lined up, so there were, boxes of carrots and boxes of this, and then we had to set them up in bags or boxes
Separated.
for the families, and we had, this family is 5, so we gotta put more stuff in.
We had extras.
Yeah, and we had an assembly line. It was.
We had volunteers from the community, so we did it on a shoestring budget. So we had we went to the food bank and loaded up the car with you spend like $100 at the food bank, you could fill a whole car with food.
But you also went to Dole and got
Yeah,
donations.
no, it
for-
wasn't Dole, it was Taylor Farms.
Oh, it was Taylor Farms.
Yeah, they had given us boxes of cauliflower, and each time they'd give us vegetables. We had extra vegetables to infuse into the boxes, but.
But that was all Julia. I mean,
Yeah.
that was.
No, that's why I said this is her passion project, so thank you, Julia.
Thank you for helping me.
Really
I needed more muscles, that was helpful.
So you can stick around, we're just gonna continue on with the meeting if you wish. But thank you so much.
I actually have to get to my congregation meeting tonight, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
guys.
evening.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
Julia. Thank you so much.
Good luck with your baby.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right, I'm just gonna finalize our report so we can have closed session. So dear, bye Julia, dear board, I hope everyone is enjoying their nice warm days. It looks so beautiful outside with all the flowers in bloom. I'm happy to report on March 1st, we got confirmation. Sophie, can you just let Damien?
Yeah.
Okay. That we got confirmation, we got final approval for the OSHBOT HCI to bring to the close the power outage project we started over a year and a half ago. We are working with insurance to secure reimbursement for the insurance on the loss of nearly $295,000. We will be reimbursed $133,000 or 45% of the total loss. The process does take time as the adjuster has 9 insurance companies to provide. So over the month, we've been slowly getting checks in. Finance. May 5th, we applied for the Alliance Medi-Cal Capacity Grant, providing financial investment practices to make quality improvement interventions to the Care-Based Quality Improvement Program, known as CBI. With help, practices may sustain improvements in staffing, processes, and technology to help improve metrics. What we're being told, they're looking at qualifying us for $231,000, and that's through CCAH. Eden Valley, our current census is 52, 16 Medicare, 2 managed, 4 private, 30 Medi-Cal.
Oh, 4 private now.
And our total occupancy is 88%.
Is there any private beds left? I mean, do we have any private bed rooms? So everybody is a double share.
And it's working really well. Actually, I had one of the family members come up to me and said that his wife is being roomed with their neighbor.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is working really well, and it's common practice.
Yeah.
In some of the bigger facilities, they have 4 people per room.
Oh.
And it's smaller rooms than ours.
They're not bunk beds, are they? I'm joking. Because where would you have, those rooms are so small.
I know, but that's what staff is telling me who've worked.
They don't use much space. They sit in a bed and sit in a chair and that's it. So it's not like
Give them a folding chair. Yeah.
They
It
just-
converts to a bed. Max is right.
no, they lay in bed all day or they sit in a chair.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah. So Eden Valley operations report, I have asked Eden Valley next month administrator to come and give her own report, and clinic manager.
So when are we gonna meet Natasha?
Next month.
Sure.
her and Alicia.
Okay, Lisa.
All right, so we still are addressing an investigation complaint for quality care. We got the same kind of complaint that we got before, so it's an ongoing investigation.
By the state or by us?
Individuals. Yeah. So no, it's not us. We did a self-report in March, if you guys remember. That was a gentleman who claims he was missing money, and that's still under investigation. We did have the police in here. We did have a search. So everything was dealt with accordingly. We self-reported because we didn't want there to be any misunderstandings. COVID updates. We are no longer COVID screening. No longer required to inform families or residents of COVID status. That's all been lifted. Census we talked about already. The census reimbursement, we talked about that already. Our referral sources are Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital, 17 admits, 1 from Natividad, 1 from Watsonville, for a total of 19. You already heard a few of the events that happened this month. And some new hires that we have at Eden Valley. Pardon me, years of service that we have. Marla, she does she does the exercise or RNA with our patients. She's been here for 5 years, so we celebrated her. At the clinic, we have Aurora Morales. She's been with the clinic in service for 10 years. And then we also have Dr. Pena, who's been here in service with the clinic for 5 years. So we have those celebrations as well. Let's see, on the clinic side, voicemail and phone update. We are seeing more patients leaving voicemails and are utilizing a callback and walk-in list for those trying to get same-day appointments. Soledad patients that are added to our waiting list are indicated with star to let our front office staff know which patients are local for faster same-day appointments. Sports physicals and well child care physicals will be offered to our community in June 10th and June 24th. Mother's Day, they gave roses out. It was a success. They were able to show our patients, so they gave them to patients as they were walking in, how much we appreciated them. Patient seen average for doctors is 18, and for OB is 21. In early May, we did have one staff member, which was one of the providers, who got sick with COVID. Just a reminder, Monday we are closed in observance of the holiday. And
what do you mean closed to who?
The clinic.
You mean the clinic?
Yeah.
But this is
No, we can't close this one.
What'd you do at Eden Valley for Mother's Day?
We gave flowers out to everyone. You know, so we try to make it special, and so the flower seems to be the kind of the key and that work. And they do potlucks and they do different things to celebrate. Okay. Partnerships. I attended the Soledad Unified School District Safety Committee, where we'll focus on emergency. We have now written, we're about to write the plan. We've broken out into committees, and we're gonna write the final plan that is due in September.
And that's for the school district.
That is for the school district. Met with Jennifer Armstrong, Public Health Program Manager, Enhanced Care Manager for Monterey County Health Department. Provided our playbook for developing the health food program in partnership with the aggregator, because they want to do it county-wide level. I'm still part of the Community Wellness Collaborative. The purpose of this collaborative is mental health. That's what we're focused on. The culture of prevention and care with readiness, access, outcomes would likely be an abundant workforce, practitioners working from and for the community. Mental health is not stigmatized. So I'm working on that collaborative. I was an advisor to the committee to the Soledad High School CTE advisory meeting. is to strengthen the career and technical education program that the school serves. Each year, the foundation contributes $1,000. So we talked about dollars, along with $1,000 from Rotary for $2,000 for the Steve Pritt Memorial Scholarship for any Soledad High School student who is interested in health or a student who took healthcare related courses during high school. We had 13 candidates and selected Marlin, and I did the presentation along with the Rotary Club.
I have to ask you, was the Rotary one different than ours? Or did the same girl get the Rotary and the Steve Pritt?
So Rotary does one with us for $2,000, and then they have their own. They have a Pauline Tomasini, and then they have another. So they do a total of 3.
Oh, they do, okay. But it went to different people,
Correct.
not the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We spread it out.
Good.
Attended the Community Foundation for Monterey County Women's Fund event, where there were more than 500 professional women and men that gather at this event. Attended the Monterey County Economic Development Committee meeting, where we discussed the Monterey County Countywide Comprehensive Economic Strategy, SIDS. I recommend for you guys to read through that. There's a big part in that of healthcare that's important. And it talks a lot to what's going on here in healthcare, and what and I talked about what we talked about is the shortage. So this is an actual draft that we prepared to go to the and approved to go to the county supervisors, and it talks about healthcare. It talks about the decline and the need, not the decline, but the need in healthcare workers. And it's showing a shift into mental health, and a moving more away from the hospital setting, but more into the mental health. So this is a report that's drafted by a third-party organization on behalf of the county. So there's a lot of good points that are in here that are really telling of our community and our county and the need that transpires. So that's an important committee to be a part of.
Can you maybe scan that and get it to the...
So you guys can read it, yep.
So that we all can read it?
Just real quick, I went on Supervisor Chris Lopez's site, and he gives an update on the board agenda and things that they vote on that. And one of the things where I'm going with this is that because we're at 75 years, it should be recognized with the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
And let him know so that they can, it's a little bit of free advertising, and it's a resolution that recognizes it. They made some recognition with Clinica Salud for doing something. I thought, well, if we're at 75 years, it should be.
Would that be a good idea to have at our gala?
Sure. Do what?
Yeah. Have it presented?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start working on those. So we'll start working on that with the gala committee.
Yeah.
Okay, so good idea.
But somehow let the supervisors know that we're 75 years and strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will do that. What else? Attended the Community Foundation Monterey County, down from. Attended the Empower Luncheon, where there were 400 professional women and men gathered for a semi-annual event. Met with Mary Ann LaFell, co-chair of LAFCO, and then attended this morning I attended the Association of California Healthcare Districts board meeting. So a lot of great activity, a lot of good stuff going on. Any questions before we go into closed session?
No, I want to make this point. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I got just an anonymous phone call and asking me for an 8-minute interview on King City Hospital.
Uh-oh, is there something going on there?
I don't know, that's what I was wondering. They asked me if I've ever been there and how I felt I was served and how I feel they serve the community, and it was...
Maybe they're just doing their own
Yeah,
survey.
it was interesting that, and they didn't know who I was,
They're
it was
doing
just
pretty good though.
Anonymous,
And maybe sometimes people survey themselves, so I wonder if it's something.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I'll find out.
It sounded like it.
I do want to share this. This is from Dr. Chandler, Pete Chandler, the OB, the one that runs the whole entire OB for Natividad. It says, Dear Ida, just a note of thanks. After working at Soledad for 2 years and seeing OB, 20 years of OB patients, or 20 OB patients yesterday, I am feeling very grateful. I feel the mission ignites something deep inside that makes me feel that I am doing work that has purpose and I was meant for me. It brings joy to see us important so many, yeah, he's so fancy, it's all the cursive, to see us impact so many people.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the caliber of people that are working with us, and this is amazing. So
I
I
met
just want
him at,
Did you?
at the luncheon that we had. Happy to sit at his table.
yeah,
Very,
smart
very nice.
gentleman, huh?
Yeah, and he's, yeah, really.
I just want to commend Ida that, again, we were at the table in so many places rather than on it. And her being out there and being on all these boards, I think is making a significant difference in what we're doing. So I want to thank you
Trying,
for that.
thank you, I
Thank you,
appreciate
Ida.
that.
The
Appreciate
word
that.
out there in a positive light.
Absolutely. Okay, Damien, I know we held them up, but let's get them on board so we can finish our closed session.
Go into closed
Are we
session.
going